Welcome back to our mini data bootcamp. I'm Emery, and I am so glad to be teaching you the basics of Excel dashboards. In the first few videos, we covered spreadsheet fundamentals. So you learned about editing names and turning birth dates into ages and then age ranges. You learned about merging data sets with the lookup family. And now it's finally time for Excel dashboards. And of course, we're going to cover the basics of Power BI dashboards in the very next video. I think having these go back to back should be really helpful so you can see how similar they really are. I mean, you'd hope so, right? They're both Microsoft products, but then you can also see where there are some slight differences. Okay, we're going to be building the bones of this dashboard, which means we're not going to fill in every single chart and format it exactly like this. We're going to build the overall structure, okay? And I think the easiest charts for us to build for newbies here would be, let's build this stacked bar chart, and then we won't format it. We're just going to like get all the pieces in order. And then let's do maybe a donut chart, just so you can get a sense of like, how do all the pieces fit together for Excel dashboards? There is this misconception that Excel dashboards have to take all day, or that Excel or Power BI dashboards are maybe like really expensive. They're not. They're like virtually free. It's software that you likely already have. So what I want to show you in this video, the big picture for you to remember, is that it's really just 4 pieces. Okay? Excel dashboards, just 4 pieces. It is a data set, pivot tables, pivot charts, and a slicer or 2. Data set, pivot tables, pivot charts, a slicer or 2. So let's go through each of those steps to make those 2 charts. Here's our data set. We already have it. It's our combined data set. It's got some black data, raw data. It's got some red data, which is the cleaned or recoded data. These are all variables that we could put into our dashboard later on. It's already been merged. We already have the participant data, the attendance data, the survey data. They're all together, okay? That's step 1. That's going to take the longest, absolutely, is like getting everything together for, in the first place. That is the biggest lift, and that makes the rest of the steps so seamless. So let's do the next step, right? Because it's like step 1, data set, check, we're done. We did that in the previous few videos. Step 2, the pivot table. We're going to click on the upper left corner of the data set, which is cell A5 in this case, not A1, not A2, not A, not 1, not the triangle, but this cell, the cell that's in the upper left corner of the data set. Then we go to Insert, then we click on Pivot Table, and we're going to keep it in a brand new worksheet right here. Just click OK. And then let's rename this sheet though to stay organized. It says sheet 2 or sheet 3 or sheet 4. It just kind of numbers them with generic names. You're going to hover your mouse over the sheet, right click, go to rename, and call it like, I don't know, like your turn, something like that, so you can find it. Okay, we're almost there. We've got a blank pivot table. Let's talk about what we're even looking at, because this throws off novices sometimes, and for good reason. It's like, pivot table, what is that? It's going to be our summary table. It's going to add up not just all these separate people. That's our data set, right? Like 1 entry per person. This table is going to be how many people, like all rolled up, all totaled, all summed and counted together. And we're going to drag and drop these variables into these boxes, and then our summary table is going to appear over here on the left. These variable names, they look familiar, right? ID, first name, last name, birth date, they're here, okay? ID, first name, last name, birth date, those should look familiar to us. And we're going to drag and drop them, okay? The first thing we have to figure out is, what is our unit of analysis? And our unit of analysis here is people. We're looking at the number of participants. It's a participant level dashboard. How many people this? How many people that? Your dashboard in real life might be a participant level dashboard. It might be a dollars level dashboard. I'm thinking of all the foundations I work with. Their dashboards are typically like, how many dollars supported this topic, and how many dollars went to this grantee, and how much did we spend over time related to this? Theirs is dollars often, or number of projects, but not usually numbers of people. It's Depends on the funder, of course, okay? So that's what you have to think through first is like, what is our unit of analysis? In this case, it's people. So we're going to drag the unique ID here that tells us like how many people, and we're going to put that in the values box. And it works sort of. This is supposed to tell us how many people. We don't have 36,000 people in this data set. We have like 180 or 190 or something. It's giving us accidentally a sum of the ID numbers. It is counting up person 101. It's counting that person as 101 people. And then it gets to this person and it's counting that person 102 times. And this person's counted 103 times. And that's where we get that crazy number, 36,000. We want it to count this person once, and this person once, and this person once. We have to change it from a sum to a count. And it's very easy to click buttons to do that. Okay, so what I need you to remember is like ID numbers often go in values, change the sum to a count. If you have numeric IDs, change them to a count. You just hover your mouse over the sum of ID section, click the arrow, go to value field settings, and on the pop-up, you select a count, okay? It's that long. It's like a couple second switch. And now we have the correct number. That's our N. We have 187 people in this data set. Now we get to drag and drop into these other 4 boxes. So to make a chart like this, a race and ethnicity chart, which remember, these are made up values. So I don't know if this is like a pattern you'd find in real life. People who are like Cambodian and Hispanic, maybe. I don't know. These are made up. Don't look into any patterns too closely. Okay, let's do race and ethnicity. So grab race and put it in rows, and you get 1 row per race. Okay, a row here, a row here, a row here. And do you see how it's tallying up? It's counting up. 15 people said they were Afghani, 17 people said they were Asian Indian, 15 people said Bangladeshi, etc. And then you scroll down and you see our total again, 187. So far, so good, right? Isn't that nice? It's just like, just do a little like yoink, and it does all the math behind the scenes for you. You can pivot the pivot table. Instead of having this variable in rows, you could put it in columns, and then you get 1 column per race. If your boxes on the side disappear, like mine just did, Excel tries to hide them so that you don't have like too many things on your screen at once. You just click on any of these cells and they come back, okay? Or, see, they disappeared again. If they don't automatically come back, you just go up to these green tabs. Those are the pivot table editing tabs. And you would click on the field list to show it again, okay? It's called a field list because these are the variables. These are the fields that we have to play with we can drag and drop. All right, let's put that one back here because the column version, this makes my eyes bleed because I have to scroll and it's just like, ugh, I don't like that one at all, okay? I want you to trust your gut instinct when you're dragging and dropping and like figuring out what goes where. If something just looks like, ugh, not right, then just keep pivoting until you get the right view. All right, let's add in ethnicity. We can put ethnicity in a few different places. We could put it underneath race. We have race first, ethnicity second. So then we get race first, ethnicity second. What if we reorder them? Just keep dragging and dropping, right? You can put ethnicity first in the boxes, ethnicity first, race second. So you get ethnicity first, race second. So of the 33 people who said they were Hispanic, 3 also said they were Bangladeshi. 2 also said they were Cambodian. You can also put 1 in the columns box, like this. So you have race in rows, ethnicity in columns, and then it gives you the totals all over if you need them, right? So out of the Hispanic people, 33 people total, you can see the breakdown and where they all intersect. Sometimes I also add color coding on top of this. I'll just show you this like bonus technique because reading the numbers takes a long time. So I just highlight just the interior of the table, not the totals anywhere, just the inside. I go up to Anne Emery's favorite button, conditional formatting, and I click on the color scales. There's so many goodies up there. We could have a whole series just on conditional formatting. I go up to the color scales and I'm going to click on this one, green, white. that just means the bigger numbers are going to be darker. So you can start to find the patterns. Again, these are like made up patterns, but in your real data set, you'll find really cool patterns just visually adding a heat map, or as Excel calls them, a color scale. All right, data set, check. Pivot table, check. Let's add a chart. We're going to click on the pivot table, any cell you want, go up to insert and grab a chart. And we're going to do this one, okay? The 2D bar, this one right here, 2D stacked bar. It's not pretty. It's not up to Ann Emery's DataViz best practices standards and data storytelling standards. It's not big A accessible or little a accessible, but I'm going to try to just close my eyes and not look at the ugliness of this chart and just focus on the bones of it for you too, okay? Check. Let's add the fourth and final piece, a slicer. So you click on the chart, not some random cell, right? You have to be clicked like on the chart. Go up to insert and add a slicer. These have been here since 2018. So if you don't see them, it means that magically your laptop has just made it that long, okay? You're going to get a pop-up that shows you all the variables that you can slice and dice by. And in real life, this is going to be the hardest part, okay? It's very easy to just check one of these boxes. Like we're going to check program to show us by cohort, like the Sunday group versus the Saturday group, etc. But in real life, this is where you have to stop and talk to your coworkers and say like, wait, what are we slicing and dicing by? What are the like 1 or 2 or 3 filters that we want? So that's going to take some practice, okay? Just heads up. I'm going to click OK, and you get a slicer. It also shows me some of the older entries, like when I was making up this fake data set, but we can hide those too, okay? There's lots of really cool slicer editing features that you probably see there on the top of the screen right now. When you click on the slicer, you get the slicer tab, and then you can do all sorts of cool settings over here. Like you can change the height and the width. You can do it 2 columns or 1 column. You can set an exact, height of the buttons if you want to make them like really cartoonishly big and crazy terrible looking. Okay, this is all up to you. I'm going to go into slicer settings real quick, and I'm going to, I want to show item visually, hide items with no data. Let's do that. Yeah, hide items with no data. Perfect. Maybe shrink this a little bit. Great. Okay, let's recap the bones of this because this is the most important part for you to learn. So we've got the data set, which feeds into the pivot table. You click on the pivot table, you insert a pivot chart. You click on the pivot chart and you insert a slicer. And then you use your slicer, and these are all linked, right? So like out of the Monday morning group, these are their races and ethnicities. These are their races and ethnicities. It's all linked. Pretty nice, right? Let's do it one more time. We're going to create one of the donut charts. So we go back to step 1, the data set, which is right here. You remember where we click, right? It's that upper left corner, cell A5 in this case. Go to insert, grab a pivot table. Last time we put it on a new worksheet. This time I'm going to put it on that same worksheet we already have. I have to tell Excel where, so I click on the arrow, go to your turn, scroll down a bit, plop it right there, click on the arrow again, click on OK. Okay, this part's going to look pretty similar. It's like blank pivot table, variables to drag and drop. You start by figuring out your unit of analysis. This is a person level dashboard. So ID goes in values, change the sum to a count, arrow, value field settings, count, okay, drag and drop. And I'm going to make a donut of exercise and physical activity to look at whether people said they were more confident in their skills or not. You can put that in rows. You can put that in columns. It's not going to matter for the donut chart that we're about to create. Right. Pretty easy, right? Once you get the hang of pivot tables, it should take like a minute or less to set yours up and drag and drop your variables. It's not supposed to be an all-day thing. This is supposed to be really, really quick. We're going to click on our pivot table, go to insert, and pick out our chart. I'm going to go with a 2D donut. It's not formatted. I'm going to try to ignore that. Maybe I'll link below this video to some like tips on formatting charts like this too, in case that helps you. But it's there. Okay. Then you would think like, oh, don't we insert a slicer? Well, we already have a slicer. But let me show you the trouble with this. I'm going to zoom out so you can see both of these. Okay. When you click on the slicer, the top chart moves. The bottom chart still says 187. Let me try it again. The top chart moves, the bottom chart still says 187. It's not moving. Your slicer is not automatically linked to future charts. So we just have to link it, okay? And that's pretty easy. You just click on the slicer, which pulls up the green slicer tab with all of the editing features. I already showed you settings. I already showed you like columns, height and width. We're going to look at another button here, probably the most important button of all, which is this one. Report connections. If I could rename that one, I would call it like make the slicer work button or make sure my slicer is connected to all my charts and pivot tables button. I would call it something different than report connections. Okay, what that does is it pulls up a list of all of your pivot tables, which I have like a bunch in here in the answer key in the cheat sheet for us. And I want the one that is right here on the your turn sheet, okay? You just have to tell your slicer, like, could you please go be connected to that pivot table and therefore that chart? That's it. You just click whichever ones you need. And then when you use your slicer, everything changes. The top chart and pivot table, the bottom chart and pivot table, it's all linked. Okay, those are the bones. Remember the big picture? It's a data set linked to pivot tables, linked to pivot charts, linked to a couple slicers. The details of it are, a lot, like more than we could cover just in a short, mini data bootcamp. But if you have questions about any of these, if you have questions about this tabulation sheet with any of my pivot tables or helper tables or formulas that are in here, for you, like I welcome you to peek around at these and like see, what's going on. Just comment below the video and I promise I'll respond usually within a day or two, unless I'm out of town or something, and I'll point you in the right direction. I'll send you a blog post, a YouTube video, maybe even make a YouTube video just for you.